Hi, Matt with Etrailer. If you have a 2024 Nissan Kicks and you're looking for something that's going to give you a little bit more security or peace of mind while you're driving, and you want something that's going to get you through those moderate snow and ice conditions, then the Pewag Snox Pro Tire Chains are going to be a great option for you. So let's check them out. Now, we do have this on tire size 205 55 R17. These will fit a variety of other sizes. That's just the size we have today. And we're going to have this on our front axle is what the manual recommends. Now, if you're not sure if this is going to fit your vehicle, I recommend just plugging your vehicle's information into our fit guide to find the right one for you. And we can take a closer look at these links. So these are going to be more of a square links. And that's perfect because that hard edge is going to give you a little bit more bite to get through moderate snow and ice conditions. It will also last you a long time because they're going to be made out of a nickel manganese alloy. So they're going to be very durable and very rust resistant. On top of that, we are going to have a ladder pattern design to these chains. So with the ladder pattern design, you get more surface area on the tire, in turn giving you more traction, especially when you are making those turns. And these are going to be Class S chains. So if you look back here, you'll notice our suspension is pretty low. So this is going to be perfect so you don't make contact with it, and that's why it's important to make sure these are nice and tight. Now, the reason why these are nice and tight is because we do have this self-tensioner on here. This is pretty nice because it's going to make sure everything stays tight, and if things were to loosen up, it's going to make sure it takes out any of that slack. And these chains are going to come two to a set in this very compact case. And I'm actually a big fan of it because it's going to store really nicely in your vehicle since it doesn't take up a lot of room. And if I open it up, your chains are going to be held in with these pockets. So that's perfect because they're going to be less likely of getting tangled up. So I'm always a big fan of keeping your chains separate. Now, in my opinion, I think this is a very solid choice if you are looking for a really easy installation, especially since we don't have a whole lot of clearance underneath their vehicle. It's going to be a more premium chain, giving more peace of mind because we do have a self-tensioner on here. Now, honestly, I would still recommend checking out the Koenig self-tensioning tire chain because it's going to be very similar to this, only that tensioning device is going to be a little bit different. Actually, find using it to be a little bit easier too, because this one, you'll have to pull on it pretty hard to get it to that right location that you want it to be at. And this one's also going to be at a much more premium price range, while the Koenigs are going to be a lot more affordable. But really, it's just going to depend on what you're really looking for because these ones do feel very sturdy and they feel like they're going to last a long time. But if you are curious to see what the installation looks like, just stay tuned and we'll walk you through it. To start off with, I like to grab some gloves and lay out my chains. And what I'm looking for here is really just to make sure there's no damages to our links and nothing's tangled up. I also like to make sure everything's in the right orientation. So what we have to consider is how this is going to go on. So right now, you'll notice these hooks are facing down. And if I were to try to put that on now, since this red cable is going to go on the back end of our tire, that means that would be making contact. So what I want to do instead is pull these chains through until they're facing the opposite direction. Trying to make sure nothing gets tangled up. And once we figure that out, now we can put it on, because when we put it on now, those hooks are going to be facing on top instead of facing towards our tire. And to do this, all we're going to do is come over here and push it on. And try to get it around your tire. Now this will be a little bit of a tight fit because you don't have too much clearance in this wheel well. I like to just apply tension to the top of it, grab one end, and reach around. Once we have that side started, we're going to repeat the same process on the opposite side. And push on it. Again, this will be a little bit tight since it is pretty low clearance back here. Well, you'll eventually reach the point where you can't get this down anymore because that red cable won't reach around. So what we're going to have to do after this is just pull forward some and then make sure everything's in the same orientation. And before I do that, I just like to double check that this red cord on the back of our tire is in a good spot, that I want it to make sure it's even on both ends. And when I'm pulling forward, the main reason I'm doing this is just to make sure that we can clear that red section or that red cord at the bottom of our tire. And a lot of times that will just kind of scoot into place by itself, but other times you will have to just manually adjust it and make sure all those points are secured properly. And what I mean by secure this properly, if you look back here, this section is actually upside down. That's just something that happens when they kind of fall into place. So all I'm going to do is flip it over. Again, you can see how that hook is facing up now. That's the way we want it to look. And then we can push this into place. And something you might notice is sometimes this won't be perfectly centered. That's okay. This right here should be fine. If you want to fix it up a little bit more, all you have to do is pull forward some and adjust it. But what we're going to do from this point is actually come to this self-tensioner right here. And the way we're going to activate this is just by pushing it into place. So I'm just going to push this until it can latch on to that little cutout there. And this is going to take some trying to do because that can be a pretty tight fit at times. As you saw, I was struggling a little bit, so what I did was actually pulled up or backed up some, just so this tensioning device is on top of our tire. That's going to ensure that we don't have any tension on these chains. We can get a little bit more slack out of this so we can get this into the tightened position. You hear a click, let you know it's in that position, and you're going to have this green indicator telling you it's locked into place. Afterwards, you're just going to repeat the same process on the other side, and then you can kind of either pull forward or back up some, just to make sure you're getting a good fit. And if you are, you can take it out for a ride. And that was just a look at the installation and some of the features of the Pewag Snox Pro Tire Chains on our 2024 Nissan Kicks. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.